Yeah, hand nails, everything's fine. You pass.
Hello, everybody. This is Plan in Traffic, and my name is Lewis Lee. And we do this every Thursday night, 9 o'clock Eastern Time. So please share it with all your friends. And if you're watching us live on YouTube and Facebook, please reshare it, and that'll help reach more people. How you doing, Ray?
Very good, Lewis. Very good.
How was your week?
Thank you. Yeah, it's here again. Here we go. I had a really busy week. I had a lot of cool stuff going on. Shaking down the car some more, and actually got to do a cool photo shoot with it yesterday. So that was kind of cool. That's going to come up in the form of some car show advertisement next month.
Oh, nice.
So
you're reaping the hard work.
Well, I can't give away too much about it because it was actually illegal. But
all right, you ain't gonna say nothing else.
My buddy who does the show wanted to have 3 1965 cars in front of a very iconic monument to celebrate the anniversary of the World's Fair. Mm-hmm. So we had a 65 Chevelle SS, my 65 GTO, and a 65 a Chrysler. I'm not sure the model. I know it was it was better than 300. So it was an L car. All of these cars with V8s had 4 speeds or 5 speed. All had AC. And 2 of us had dual quad setups. So it was a pretty interesting group of cars. And but the place we had to take the photos wasn't really accessible to cars. Mm-hmm. So we just kind of went there, kind of figured we'd talk our way in, talk our way out, and,
It's easier to ask for forgiveness than permission.
We had more people taking pictures of us than we took of the cars. It's unbelievable.
That's funny.
It was crazy, yeah. Yeah, it was
good.
Cool. So, had a good time.
Good. So tonight's topic is, have you ever made any parts or tools?
That's a great topic, and I actually have an example.
Yeah, I got one here too.
I'm ready for you.
Okay. You want to let the fellas in?
Yeah, let's bring them in.
All right.
Where's that guy there? Hey. That guy go.
I asked you if you want to let him in, then I cut him off.
You're deleting my my additions. That's good.
And Tyler took a left. What's up, guys?
Hey, guys, what's going on?
Hey, what's up?
Another Thursday coming around the corner.
Living the dream.
They come quick and hard.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, so I'll go first, I guess. One of the pieces I made, part for my motorcycle, and this here is the back piece of my motorcycle.
The tail section, yeah.
Section. It used to have the trunk, so I took the trunk off and I made this tail piece. So it has the old school Yamaha logo.
Yeah.
And then I have my camera.
Oh, yeah.
So I can watch when I was riding, when I was sitting at a light and stuff. I got a monitor on my dash,
nice.
So I could see behind me. So then you can see the ugly side of the fiberglass work.
Yeah. You laid the brackets in there to strengthen them. That's good.
Yeah.
Nice. Now, is that the only one you've made? Like, did the first one survive and everything was cool, or did you have to go through a couple?
No, this is it. This is the first one.
Nice.
I see a couple of blemishes, but it came out pretty good. It lasted for I had it on for 3 years, I think, 3 or 4 years.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So that's my, I have a 87 Yamaha, and you can't buy any parts for it.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make it more sleek, so I made that piece. But now I'm going back to the trunk because my wife don't have anything to lean on. So when we ride, she lays on me, and it hurts my back and hurts her back, and we can't go too far.
Right.
So I bought a Razor trunk, so it's a lot thinner. So I got that all painted up. I got it on the bike now. So as soon as I get done with my carburetors, maybe in 2028 I'll have it on the road again.
Yeah. You know, at a cruise night Monday, we kind of drifted over to one side of the lot, and there was a fella there with a KZ1000.
Oh, nice.
And I was like, oh, dude, I said, now you got my full attention. And this bike was clean. The chrome was all beautiful. But a couple things, hit me. It's like, and he had the Kawasaki mag wheels on it. Mm-hmm. Those bikes of that year had spokes. So I said, okay, change the wheels and tires, no big deal. And then everything else looked right. The bars were right, gauges, everything. And then he confessed that his bike had been originally an LTD. Oh. And that came with the buckhorn bars and the styled teardrop tank.
It came with those wheels. Yep.
And those wheels. So he just changed. He left the wheels and put all the other stuff on that would make it just a regular KZ. Mm-hmm. So he kind of like downgraded in essence,
Yeah.
But man, I was loving this bike, and I was asking him, he had a airbox on it with a Kirker pipe. I said, dude, you got a chrome Kirker that isn't rusted? It's like brand new. He said, yeah, he found some guy that had one NOS laying around. I'm like, back in the day, I couldn't afford a Kirker pipe. I bought a Mac pipe.
Yeah.
Because it was like $100 and it was black. I don't care. Just give me a header,
Yeah.
But those Kirker boys, that stuff was expensive. But he was talking about the carburetors. He's got the Kean slide carburetors. Mm-hmm. And we were talking about adjusting them and tuning them and all. And he really wasn't too into it. And I said, yeah, you got to go to the next level. You need either a set of gauges or carb sticks, mercury sticks, because you got to get them all in balance.
You know what? I have them both. I have the mercury and the gauges.
Yeah, I do too. And don't get to use them much anymore, but
yeah,
got it.
Well, when I redid my carbs and everything on the 4 carbs, I had to use them for that.
Oh, sure.
So my buddy, he gave me the, which one did you just say? The
carb sticks?
No, the
Mercury.
Yeah.
Well, that's the carb sticks. Yeah, the carb sticks it's one long plastic lucite board in 4 chambers, and it's got 4 columns of mercury.
Yep.
Right. And really, that's for people who don't know, that's what a vacuum gauge emulates. It emulates inches of mercury.
You know what? Let me grab it.
I could grab mine, but it's out in the garage, and I have to climb up and find it. So the hell with it. Right where it is.
You sound a little pouty about it, Ray.
Nah, it's just because I'm too jammed up with crap. But we're just talking about you, Tyler. I was talking with Brian the other day about fittings and things, and I said, that's why I was tapping Tyler on tapping his brain for all the stuff, because I know he went did a lot of things. So
my stuff is supposed to be here tomorrow. So
who'd you order from, Brian?
Well, it was Jegs.
Okay.
And
just went with Jegs because it sounds like jugs.
Actually, the funny part was I had originally gone to Summit, and I guess I was looking for something. It wasn't even started with the stuff for the Audi. It was just something completely different. And in the search, I came across and ended up on Jegs, and that was pretty much
okay. I meant to tell you, I was cleaning up some books down here, and I found I had my Speedway catalog. They had a lot of stuff too.
I couldn't remember the other. I was trying to remember, and Speedway.
Yeah, they're all still the same stuff. And Tyler, I told Brian that on your recommendation, I did get some Evil Energy stuff, and I had absolutely zero problems with it. The stuff is phenomenal.
Yep,
it's probably Earl's that they just rebranded it or something. Oh, you got a small set.
Yeah.
Dude, mine are like 4 foot long.
Oh yeah.
Because the problem is, like, if you raise the throttle on a bike and then whack it, that mercury jumps. You can ingest it back into the engine. So they made the ones that I have super long, so you'd really have to climb a hill. Yeah.
Okay. I got the gauges too that comes in a kit. The kind of newer gauges.
So I just went and bought 4 different vacuum gauges and mounted them on a aluminum plate done. But
speaking of vacuum gauges, last week I sold one in a Tesla shop.
really, oh wow,
And I asked the guy, I was like, what do you need this for? He goes, yeah, I need this for my 56 Cadillac. So I was like, this is kind of weird. Yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to mount this one or my old son in the FJ. One of them painted that black for my own car, but I don't know. Who knows?
For
We'll
the vacuum gauge?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always like to run a vacuum gauge.
Yeah. Okay, Ray, you're up.
You know, I'm sure like Tyler, one of my hobbies and one of the things I seem to do out of great enjoyment is I love to make parts. I love to make brackets. I love to make things to attach things. I couldn't even tell you how many things. I actually did. I wrote an article that I was going to put in this one magazine I was writing 4 years ago, and it was the parts that you can't buy. And it was all the stuff that I made, and what I made it out of. And you can get pretty damn creative. You look around and see, oh, I can make this out of that. But all right, I'll tip my hand. I'll go for the mother load right now, because we were talking about this on my show on Motor Mouth Radio Sunday. These new dudes I'm hanging out with at the cruise night, they're going all for the day 2 mods on their 60s cars. Ladder bars. 2 of these guys have toe tabs, and we were talking about where you get the toe tabs. And I actually know the guy who made the toe tabs for these guys. So I went to his shop yesterday and picked up a set. And Brian, I got him with the round end. I got him with the rounded end pins.
Oh yeah,
those are the hard ones. So yeah, homemade toe tabs.
Are you going to paint them and put them on?
I was out today trying to find OSHA yellow. It's that safety yellow color, which is just about dead nuts perfect for Lakewood.
Uh-huh.
But a couple stores I went to, I couldn't find it. So the hunt is still on.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, Amazon.
yeah. But like I said, all sorts of bracketry and mounting hardware. I'm always making stuff like that. I find it's a great way to pass time in the garage. You just like draw something out on a napkin, and you kind of do 3D it, and then no CAD, you're doing it right on a piece of paper, rooting through your scrap and stuff.
I use CAD all the time. Cardboard aided design.
Yeah,
cardboard. Yep.
Exactly.
I was just getting ready to say cardboard.
Exactly.
Yeah, I've got a video up on YouTube about making brackets that way.
Excellent. And one of the sneaky ones this was kind of cool. It's one of the last things I had to make for my car. My Pontiac uses a tube. It's about a 1/2 inch diameter, and they put it on a stud, a head bolt with a stud in the middle exhaust ports. And it just runs down between the exhaust, so that and the battery cable goes in there. So that's just their way of insulating it, keeping it off the exhaust. Mm-hmm. So it has a 90-degree tab on it to go over the stud. Well, mine got chewed up, rusted. I don't know. I needed another one. I didn't have one. So I'm looking around. I'm like, I know I got something. And what I saved was, we had an old beach umbrella, and I saved the bottom piece of the stalk that the umbrella went into. And I'm like, there it is. It's over by the garage door. I grabbed that. It was the right diameter. Cut it. I made a 90-degree tab. I aluminum welded it on. And I said, okay, the factory one has a flared end. So I found, I don't think it was a trailer ball. I found something round that was kind of big, and just kind of, put it on top and whacked it a couple times, flared the end, painted that thing black, put it in there. You never know. You think it was out of the, off the Pontiac part shelf.
Nice.
That's what I like, when it hides in plain sight. Nobody knows that you even did it.
Yeah. Yeah. I've caught myself in the last, year or so making a lot of jigs. Man, you make a jig, man, it might take you an hour to make it, but it saves you when you're making, multiple things.
Yeah, two is usually my cutoff. If I'm only making 2, I don't bother with a jig. But if I think there's going to be a third one, I make a jig.
Yeah. This fellow who made the toe tabs, what he's been making is like heavy equipment, like tractors and backhoes in, small scale. But he made like a tanker truck for somebody. He just took a piece of, it was like round steel tubing and cut her off. There's your tank. It's like just seeing other things. He made a land grader with a big plow, and for the treads, he took a big piece of motorcycle chain and made the treads out of it. So it looks, and he says he sells this stuff like crazy. Guys buy it like nuts. He said he just had an order in. He takes a horseshoe and then a railroad spike, I guess, and connects them, makes a door knocker out of them. He says a guy called him, he wanted 25 of them. Like, wow. So we were talking about that, how sometimes he'll set up with a jig. He goes, yeah, if I'm doing production, you got to do it. You got to replicate it quick. And
my big thing is making tools.
Well, we've always talked about modifying tools.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. I build them from scratch sometimes, and sometimes you just got to modify them.
Okay.
But I have a whole drawer full of stuff like this in my toolbox.
Yeah.
This is a wrench that I severely cut down to reach and tighten a fitting under a turbo.
Yeah.
Likewise, this was a big 24 mil wrench that I cut down so I could reach under something and just hold a nut.
Yep.
And then this one, I actually needed both bends in it because I had to reach over and then under something.
Right.
So always keep a cheap set of wrenches in the box.
Well, it's funny because at the shop, I got a bunch of stuff, and I was doing a job on a Camaro. I had to do the headers, and I brought of course, everybody has like a couple of 7/16 wrenches bent at different angles, and the open-ended ground. And they go, "What are that for?" I said, "It's for these header bolts, man. This is how you do header bolts on a Chevy." And I did. I have an 02 wrench. It's a 7/8 wrench, and the guys were like horrified. It's a snap-on wrench. I just heated it and bent it like right when I had it. I said, look, I needed an 02 wrench. I didn't have one. I had a 7/8 wrench, and I had a torch. I said,
"Yep,
I'm not trading it in. I'm keeping it. Who cares?"
Yep.
But yeah, Brian, I'm sure you must see. Do you guys ever try and trade in stuff like that? Because I'd be taking the trade in stuff.
Man, I tell you, well, what I like, and it depends. Early on, when you first started, you basically had a pass, and you could send back anything. It didn't matter, because you were there. They were, to give you the clean the streets or clean your area. And literally, I had guys that would say, well, the last guy wouldn't warranty this, but since you said you'll warranty anything, I had wrenches, where somebody took a acetylene torch and cut in half. And they wanted the warranty as a, I was like, dude, that's not a defect. I didn't break. You took a hot wrench and you cut it in half. It's not lifetime warranty, Right. And I said, and of course it's funny because we'll get a new guy that starts and it's like, hey, dude, you got a free pass. Take care of this for me, and he gets right because they use that time. But I love it when a guy cuts a wrench in half and then he gets mad because, well, why won't you warranty it? And I'm like, dude, it's meant on defect, that type of thing. But like Tyler, I've modified a lot of stuff, and actually I don't have anything really handy. You're up on me on that, but the only thing that I ever made from scratch was I needed a thin 27 millimeter wrench, open end wrench, and this was 28 years ago, I guess, when I made it. And because nobody had anything like that, and it was a specialty tool, and it cost a gazillion dollars from Porsche to order this specialty tool, and it was to do to adjust the balance shaft belt tensioners, because it was a double nut and you had to hold one, you had to turn and lock down.
Oh yeah.
And it was funny because me and the other guy, Rich, the guy that worked with, he said, well, there's some thin steel plate in the back. Let's cut one out. We grind it down. We heated it up, threw it in oil. And I still use that wrench today. I mean, that was the only thing I ever made from scratch. But I do have I'll have to get it. It's upstairs. Actually, it's still at my mom's house.
See, that's the kind of stuff that Lyle wants to know about, because they have that program where they'll make, if they feel a tool is worth it, they will go put it into production and make it.
But we had on the convertible tops, we needed to save time and not take off the rear cover, and the door panel or the cover. When you had to reset the timing on the tops, you had to loosen a bolt that was down in the motor. And of course, to take the cover off was a pain. You had to take the whole interior part. Yeah. So, like you, Ray, I cut a snap-on wrench in half and welded in about 13 inches or so, and made my own. This is before we even had anything that long compared to what they do today.
You were snickering and laughing when you did it.
Yo, man, I tell you, I was like, man, I really hate to cut this wrench, and I was like, dude, I can't believe I paid this much for the wrench, and here I am cutting in half. Of course, I never tried to get it warranted.
No.
But of course, now we make them.
That's serious. Dude,
now we make them like
that. Flipping burgers with that? What do you?
Yeah, that's
serious.
So it's not a wrench.
Okay.
This is. It has a 3-foot handle on it.
Wow.
Pallet buster.
That's a fan clutch.
Yeah.
Almost.
That was a fan clutch wrench right there.
I built it to pop CV axles.
Oh, cool.
So.
Okay.
That was the first tool I welded together from scratch years and years and years ago.
Man, I've had some CVs that was axles that were stuck. And worse was I'd get them from the body shop. They'd send them over to me. And the car took a wheel shot. Now I got to I got everything gutted, and I got to get the axle out. And man, it went in that transmission. It was trying to come out the other side.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy shit! I mean, I remember fighting for like an hour with that thing.
Yeah.
Trying to break it.
When I first started working on cars back in the early 2000s, I worked on a lot of 3800 vehicles, the front wheel drive V6, and at the time. Basically they all had OEM axles in them still, because they were still relatively new vehicles. And my favorite axles to replace those with were the Duralast Gold axles from AutoZone, because they were actually OEM remans. So they used the same cups, the same bearing cups. And those had a nice flat spot on them that you could get a pry bar on, and you could pop it loose against the subframe. Well, then they did away with the reman axles, and they started selling brand new ones. And the bearing cup on those was conical, and it didn't have the flat spot. So I built this tool to cradle the actual, center part of the shaft and push on both sides at the same time.
Right. Yeah. No, that's listen. That's the basis of hot rodding. I mean, you didn't have it, so you made it. It didn't fit, you made it fit.
Need a tool, make a tool.
Exactly.
Okay, I got a good one for you. You never guess what this is.
That's Tyler's tool on steroids.
Oh, wait.
Shit.
It's 4 foot.
I'm going to have to go find a bigger tool to bring over.
Yeah, he got you there.
Okay. You know what this is?
Was that
to pick up a tire.
Lifting bus tires or something?
No. It's a pallet buster. You stick it into the wood pallet and break them loose.
Yep.
This thing's heavier than me.
Well, what do you mean? What do you mean? Like just to break the wood apart on the pallet?
Yeah.
You disassemble them so you can reclaim the pack. So you can reclaim the planking.
Chainsaw works too.
Yeah, but then you lose some length then.
Yeah, the dust. Yeah.
Yep.
Gotta bring a bucket of dust.
Now you can cut in between the wood, cut the nails with a sawzall, but then you still have the nails in it. This here don't play. It'll knock it loose.
No, that would do like sometimes you get those good oak pallets, the ones that are really good.
Yep.
That are hard to do by hand. That'd be nice to buy one.
Well, I have a 58-inch pry bar. That's what I use to bust down my because ours are all hardwood, oak or what's the other one? Oak.
Hickory?
Or
Hickory, maybe.
No, not hickory. I wish they were hickory.
Yeah, right.
Because
I'd be smoking some bacon.
Man, I'd be smoking a lot. I mean, even with the oak, I still smoke. I mean, I still use it. It's all I mean, it's natural, but it's I can't remember the other name.
Yeah.
But it's like I said, it's hardwood, dude. I've got pallet. I mean, I've made actually I'm in the middle of making a floor outside so I can park the Audi on. So when I jack it up to do the underneath stuff, when I pull the trans out. So, I mean, I've redid the floor in the attic. Over all the years of selling toolboxes, all that. Some guys make some good looking furniture. I'm not that patient enough.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
Trying to think of any other cool tools I made.
I got a drawer in the toolbox. Screwdrivers that were bent and contoured to do something specific, and it's mainly wrenches. Sockets. Sometimes you'll window a socket if you had to, or
I've done that a bunch.
That's common. That's another common one.
Yep. I had to. I'll be right back. I just thought of one.
Nice.
So here's when I'm using my brain for good.
Yeah, there you go. 3D modeling, beautiful. That's nice, Louis.
I had my bed in the bus.
Okay.
When you said when you're using your brain for good.
Yeah.
Is that what you said? Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had one of my semis. I think it was FL70. It had a Cummins in it, and you couldn't reach where I would park. It would lose prime on the prime pump. So to reach the bolt, you had to climb in from the top and have your feet hanging out the bottom, and it's just a mess to get to it. So I welded a round tube onto a wrench, closed in wrench. Then I could reach in there and turn it to prime the pump.
Sure.
All right. So I needed a line wrench crow's foot, but it had to be offset.
Oh, yeah.
So I cut a line wrench down and welded another socket to it.
Yeah.
And then this is all in my custom tools drawer over on the other side of the shop. So I needed a shallow socket, but it had to be taller, and then I had to come in with a wrench to turn it. So this is an impact socket with a chrome socket welded to it, and then a big old nut.
That's an enigma wrapped in a riddle, because you need a shallow socket, but it had to be taller. So right there, I get what you're saying. It's explain that to somebody. They don't make that. It's like, dude, is it shallow or is it taller? Which is it?
Huh.
It's both.
Yeah. A regular deep well socket was too tall.
Right.
That's why I had to use that.
Yeah.
So it was either do this or take a deep well socket and cut it down and weld this on. And I was like, well, I would rather sacrifice the shallow than the deep.
Well, I did the IPR switch on my 6.0, and they make a special socket. Now this I'm telling you, when you're talking, I'm the tool guy. I mean, all I had to do was order the socket, but I wasn't going to pay the price. So I found a deep socket, took it over to the chop saw, cut it to the size. And when I changed it, because like I said, I wasn't going to pay the money.
Yeah.
That's pretty bad when the tool guy itself is over here.
Well, and Brian will know this because we talk about this as a selling point for the upscale tools all the time. Is I used to take my Craftsman deep well socket, and I would cut the very end off like a quarter of an inch, so that when you're trying to start a nut with a deep well socket, it's exactly
that lead in. The lead in.
And that's Right, and that's a big selling point for the Snap-on and Matco sockets is they're not broached as deeply.
Right.
Right.
And it's funny because every once in a while you need that deeper socket. So I tell guys, go find yourself a Craftsman one because it goes all the way down. There's no stop, it goes all the way to the end. So it is funny how you keep or both.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I know some of a lot of the SKs I have are kind of straight through. I remember coming across with that, but yes, the Craftsmans as well, without a doubt.
Yeah, that's funny.
And it always sucks if you got to modify a Craftsman wrench because they're so freaking thick. You got to grind it for like 45 minutes just to get it near where you want it because they're too damn thick, but it's expendable. Is
that the rain over there, Lewis?
Yeah, it's beating me up. I can barely hear.
It just started there, I guess. It's been raining here for about 15 minutes.
It's coming all the way next. We're going to have it overnight.
We're going to send it over to Ray in a little bit.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be nice this weekend. I hope, like I said, I hope.
Yeah, they said the weekend would be nice. Yeah. Me, I got to do brake lines, hard lines in a avalanche. That's going to be my fun on Saturday.
Doesn't sound real fun.
It's not real bad either, really.
But doesn't the one line run up over top of the tank?
No, he did the rears already. This is the one going to the front.
Oh, okay.
So, and my buddy did his, and he said, I'll pull the wheel well out, pull the liner out, and you get a lot of access to stuff. So
yeah.
As long as the fittings come loose, But I'll bring my.
I'm sorry. Are you putting a stainless steel kit in, or is it just you're just doing it all by hand?
He bought the lines. He bought replacement from somewhere, probably eBay. I don't know. So whatever he got, that's what I'm putting in.
Good luck.
It's just getting the originals out. That's always like I said, I'll bring the inductor. That's always key.
Yeah. The inductor is so nice.
Yeah.
That's
I can't believe I've gone so many years without it.
And then if I get hungry, I can always make a hot dog for lunch.
Just put a coat hanger inside of it. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, no, I did the same thing. Like I said, every year at Expo. Huh?
Lewis, is that lightning that was just flashing by you? Like 2 flashes.
It might have been.
Oh.
But every year at Expo, I always buy something for the shop or for me.
Right.
And last year, I said I want to finally buy one of those inductors.
Yeah.
And I can't believe I've gone this long without it. I've used that thing so many times, and it's
you probably
actually
you probably have the new one, the Venom, the one that's angled like the timing light.
Yeah, I've got the Venom.
I got just the big straight one.
And I've actually just ordered. I don't even know where it went. I know I brought it down, but another set of coils for it.
Yeah.
Because I've already. I have cooked and burned so much stuff, dude.
You're only supposed to pull that trigger for like 20, 30 seconds at a time.
I know.
You're going to nuclear DEFCON 4.
Hey, when I had tightened the box on my tool truck, that was, let's see here, that was 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 nuts on one side. So that was 28 nuts. On those big U-shaped brackets to hold, and the problem was that they were rusted and I couldn't tighten them up, so I had to heat them up. And I had started out with the acetylene torch, and that was the truck is high enough, and in my petite body style structure, I can just fit underneath the truck, but you're laying, So having some torches and the impact and everything and trying to heat and do that, I said, man, I want to either burn the truck down or take the rest of the hair off,
cut your head off.
I tell you, man. So I went in and I said, hey, I bought that inductor. Let me use that. And I tell you one thing, that was like
it works pretty good,
quick. Huh? Oh, yeah. And
but the way you use it, you got to tell your wife, don't use the oven, the microwave, the TV. So I'm going to be pulling some juice, hon.
Had to do it at night when everybody's sleeping and all the lights are out.
See the street lights going.
Yeah, that was at my parents' house when I had the shop there, and I had when I got my first welder, I'd go in and I had to wait till everybody went to bed because if Dad was on the computer or whatever, it really sucked. And I had actually that wasn't a MIG welder. That was the old Lincoln stick welder, Buzzbox, man.
Right.
220, and man, that thing dimmed the lights, man. It was, you thought I was like making Frankenstein or
You
something.
like the Simpsons, the power plant to be going.
Oh yeah.
Look how small the
Yeah,
stick welders look
suitcase.
Yeah.
Suitcase welder, man. MOSFET. That's all MOSFET.
Yeah. Yeah, when I got my plasma cutter, I can't believe how small that thing is. You just carry it around like
Yeah, Tyler's is real small too. Yeah.
Yeah, the one that Everlast sent me, it's the size of a toaster oven.
Yeah.
Like I just wear it on my back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's incredible how small
Technology, yeah.
that stuff is.
Yep.
But I'd start welding or start zipping along, and my old man would come out and see, if I could knock it off for about another half hour because, he was afraid I'd blow the circuit or pull the power, mess up the computer, because the computer would get all
Messing up his porn.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know about that, but it messed up some stuff. So
Kicked them off AOL.
yeah.
Oh, damn, I got to dial up again.
Dial up again.
Yep.
Yeah. So
I don't miss having to get off the internet so that Mom can make a phone call.
No,
Yeah,
no.
right.
I tell you, it's funny.
Man, I remember when I first time from that I went to DSL. I was like, "Whoa, this is cool, man! I'm flying."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't very long before my dad had we had a dedicated line for dial up.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Yeah.
That's
So
good.
growing up with my dad being an IT executive, we had all the cool gizmos, So we had it was like 1996, and we had a dedicated fax line in the house. We had a dedicated dial-up line,
That's cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't have that.
That was funny because on my first tool truck, I actually had a place to plug in the phone line so that when I closed out and had to place my orders, it would dial. I could
dial out.
So I had like I don't know, a 25-foot roll plugged into the phone box to the phone line here, and I'd come home and run that thing out and plug it into the side of the truck.
It's like Green Acres.
Yeah, it was. And, you
the
get
service
dial up. I tell you, it's so funny. And it was funny because of course, I drove that truck for 16 years, I guess, 17 years. I had that truck, and it had the like when you plug Shoreline up to it, it had a regular Shoreline plug that you flipped up, the lid, the weather box, and then right next to it was where the phone line. So everybody always asked why I had two plugs on the truck because they always say, "Is that like a heater block?" And I said, "No, that's for phone dial up." And they would look at you like, "What the hell are you talking about?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, "Back in the day,
Right.
you hook the phone, up to it."
Well, that's how, just like that, when we were looking at houses down in North Carolina, and there a couple of them were empty, and I was telling my wife, in the real estate, I said, "Yeah, this is an older build. This is an older, an older go through." And she's like, "Well, why? Just because it's fresh paint?" I'm like, "No." I said, "You guys are looking in the wrong spot." I said, "Look, there's cable jacks on the wall. There's phone jacks on the wall. It's like, if you redo, you take that out. You don't put those in anymore." I'm like, "So this is just, it was a freshen up." So
I got one better. Over my kitchen sink, there's a recessed plug.
I have a recessed plug in my kitchen too.
Wall clock.
And I have my Felix the Cat wall clock with the swinging tail. And one of my buddies just noticed it the other day when he came over. He's like, "Hey, we redid the kitchen. We put crown molding up, and I refused to move that clock. And his ears go just about to the ceiling. It's over a doorway. So we took the molding, went to the cat, and cut it, clearanced it for the clock. So he's like, wow, you must be. I said, yeah, man, we cleared some molding for the clock. That clock wasn't moving. Feels crazy. So yeah,
Old school.
I got you.
Yeah, that's funny.
Todd, I got a question for you. It's off the wall, but most of my questions are. We all know that when you put in EFI systems, they always talk about a lot of guys get bit by RFI, the radio interference, and they say that shield this, shield that, ground this, ground that. I didn't have any of that problem. But something just hit me. We went to a cruise night on Monday, and I'm coming through this one town, and it happened 3 times already. Just one section of the highway. I'm going steady, I'm cruising like 45, 50 miles an hour, and the car just goes, bloop, bloop. It's just like the ignition cuts out for a second.
But it's specifically on one section of highway?
Yeah. I wondered if it could be an RFI thing with something going on.
It's entirely possible that you're going past a dedicated microwave link, and it's on a tight beam. Okay. So if it's on a tight beam, you're going through it. It could be messing up your EFI.
Okay. That's what I thought. I know that I got to look into it a little closer. I know there's a thing for the water company there, but they may have other stuff over there too. And it was at night in the same stretch of road, and the same thing. It just goes bloop, and the car just boops for a second. I'm like, okay. Yeah.
Hi, KG.
Yeah.
Where'd he go?
I don't know. Yeah, that would be my guess. Is you're probably going through some kind of tight beam radio transmission, and it's messing with the EFI.
The stuff they don't tell you about in the manual.
Right.
Interesting.
Yeah. You would be surprised at how much stuff is wireless now.
Oh, yeah.
How much?
Yeah, I know. I always tell my kids that, Jim. I tell you, everybody wants everything wireless. What do you do when the power goes out? You're screwed.
Yep. Better have solar backup.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, even a lot of Milwaukee stuff now are the electric tools now, the power tools, battery power tools.
Yeah.
Are Bluetooth.
Right.
So you can download the app, and this is so you can find it. You know what I'm saying? So
the theft, yes, they can track.
I'm
built-in AirTag.
Right.
Yeah, I'm just like dumbfounded because just like credit cards, I got customers that every week they get a new credit card. I mean, when are they going to run out of numbers? I mean, how in the world? I mean, I've had the same numbers for 30 years.
You've also paid the bills for 30 years.
Yeah, well, yeah, but I'm just saying, how in the world?
Hold in tech support.
Call in tech support.
That's how I got back on.
There you go.
But I just find it. When are they going to run out of numbers? I mean,
I just recycle some old ones.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, so my last card is literally the same number I had before, except the third pair of 4, or the third set of 4, and the last set of 4 are flip flop.
Oh wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's crazy. And you figure you go into a shop now and how much wave what's the word we're using?
Radiation.
Well, not radiation, but singles fly into the air. You have your Wi-Fi,
well,
you have
all that curled.
You have the lift, not lifts, but your front end machine, all that stuff. There's nothing, it's all the stuff is flying around.
The good thing is it's all low level, low band.
Yeah.
You really learn a lot about that when you start becoming a ham radio operator, because you learn a lot about how radio signals work and how much of the radio spectrum is used nowadays. There's whole sections of the radio spectrum set aside for simple stuff, like garage door openers. They have their own section of the radio spectrum where they're allowed to operate.
I have a book here somewhere that shows it has the chart. It's all broken down. It's pretty interesting to see.
Yeah, and if it's more than a couple years old, it's probably not accurate anymore.
Yeah, right, exactly.
They're constantly shifting stuff and carving sections out of this to give it to that and all that. And and in North America, there's a massive section of the radio waves that is set aside for government and military use.
Oh yeah,
I know. Every time I go to Washington and my wave blacks out on me, I know I'm hitting it.
Yep.
Is that rain?
Yeah, man, it's getting down.
Wow.
Oofa.
I just heard some hit the side of the garage. I'm looking on my camera to see what it was.
Wow.
Well, as long as it wasn't the bus, you're good.
Yeah, right.
Fell over.
Yeah, that's crazy.
One day I'll put a ceiling up in here with insulation where you won't hear the metal roof.
Do some spray foam on there.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
That stuff's too expensive.
Yeah. It ain't cheap.
But you just have to do. You want to do the whole thing. All you gotta do is put a 6x6 square in there to change the tone of all that.
6x6. You know how many square feet that is?
You don't have to cover the whole thing.
It'd be cheaper to buy those acoustic tiles if you don't need the
Hell,
insulation.
I'm pretty sure that there's enough mattresses being thrown out, people being evicted. All you gotta do is hang a mattress up there, and they'll take care of the noise.
Some stinky old mattresses. Yeah.
Yeah, but then you got to worry about the weight capacity because old mattresses are heavy as hell.
They are.
Especially when they've been rained on. But
Yeah.
I got a buddy of mine's got a shop, and it's the acoustics in it are so bad that when somebody fires up an air hammer or even just air impact, half-inch impact, the noises. And I told him, I said, dude, I would just go find a couch sitting on the side of the road and suspend it from the ceiling, just to.
It would kill a lot of it, yeah.
And he just looked at me like I was crazy, but I said, dude, I'm just telling you, you don't need a lot. You just need a.
It would be a hell of a conversation starter too.
Oh, I know. Wondering why. And he's got tall enough. Trust me, that place. There's no way. I mean, it's literally 2-story. I mean, there's a small catwalk that's a floor above. So I mean, it's like 2.5 stories high. Ceiling in there, and that's the problem, dude. I said, you just tell them it's a UFO or something, dude. You just gotta hang a couch up in there and take care of the noise.
Spray paint it bright safety yellow and just and pretend you can't see it. What do you mean?
Paint it yellow with the orange legs and tell them it's Big Bird up there. Better watch out.
Yeah.
It's funny though. Like you said, with that acoustics or noise or whatever, just something very simple can change it. And it doesn't have to be a lot, You just.
So the acoustics of my shop is really weird because my shop sits on a main road, and then my side road that the shop is actually abutted to is separated by a concrete barrier, big old Jersey barrier. The houses in the neighborhood behind me are about even with the top of my roof. So every noise from that neighborhood comes over the top of my building and hits that Jersey barrier and bounces back into the front of my building. So I hear like car door slam all the time. I look out front, there's no car anywhere because it's someone pulling up to a house behind me.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's goofy.
Hey, Tyler, you be around tomorrow?
Until 2.
Yeah. Okay.
Why? What's up?
I want to see if I can throw my wife's car on the lift.
Oh, all the lifts are full.
I got an exhaust leak, and I don't know where it's at. And I'm too chubby to climb up under there, so.
Yeah. You have to talk to Terry about that. All my lifts are full right now.
Yeah. Taking up the spots.
Yeah, right. He's starting to get that ball rolling though. So.
Oh yeah. I got some ideas too. We're gonna have a meeting the next couple of weeks. You're going out of town though, right?
I'm going out of town Saturday and Sunday. Yeah, I'm going over to almost all the way to Terry's place.
Okay.
I'm going over to what's that? York, Pennsylvania.
Mhm.
Oh wow.
When are you going?
Saturday and Sunday.
Oh,
Sunday there's a at the York County Fairground, or I think it's County Fairground. There's a huge Subaru car enthusiast event. It's called Boxer Fest.
yeah.
My friend Brittany's taking her Subaru, and I'm going along with her. So
Are the Volkswagens allowed with the Subaru motors in them?
I think that's the only qualifier is it has to be a Boxer engine. So there's probably even going to be some Porsches there, I'd imagine.
Yeah, that's the big thing on the Beetles. They put Subaru motors in them.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's a real big thing. There's a couple of them around here. We got what is that thing called? Not a thing. The Volkswagen Type 1. Is that the station wagon? Is that no Type 1? Type 1 or Type 2? It's like a station wagon Beetle.
Okay.
And
That's a Type 3.
Is that a Type 3?
The square
Like
back.
a square back? Yeah. This guy took one. He widened the car and has a what's the Subaru SWX or SXW?
STI.
Yeah.
WRX.
And he split and opened up the front. I mean, he widened the car just a little bit. I mean, when you first look at it, you're like, hey, look at that square back. And then you're like, what's weird about the square? But, you're just you realize it's just a hair off. And he's got one of those SWX or whatever super turbos. The thing's pretty cool looking. I mean, I can't, and it's still in the rough metal form. It hasn't been, because, he he opened the flare wells up on the wheels and everything. It's pretty cool. It's really, really interesting. But I have a shop owner. He's in the middle of gathering his parts to do a Beetle with a Subaru motor in it.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
And it's funny, they cut the front. They like on a Super Beetle or whatever, they had the grill underneath the front bumper. So they cut that open and they lay a radiator in there and then cut the floor out so the air flows in and down underneath the car, and they run the coolant lines in. It's really interesting because they run it all down through the tunnel in the center of the car.
Yeah,
it's pretty interesting. There's a couple of them on YouTube. With the
talking about motor swaps made me think about like just different types of motors and stuff. And a swap that I've seen gathering some popularity in some communities is taking the VR6 out of the Jettas and putting them in different stuff.
Yeah,
which is interesting because that's one of the weirdest design motors that I can think of.
Yeah, you go with a W block, like a V10, a Volkswagen V10, or the Audi R8 motor or whatever.
Yeah,
that's, if you ever look at one of those blocks, that's the weirdest thing. Because
it's like two VR6s sharing a crankshaft.
Right, and because the pistons are fairly small, right, and that's why they call it a W block, because the pistons are literally laid out like a W on the side. And I think is it the VR6? It's a 6-cylinder. I mean, it's a V block, but it's one head.
Correct. Yep.
It's just got one big head on it.
The cylinders are parallel but offset.
Yeah.
It's basically two inline 3-cylinders that share a head and share a crankshaft.
Yeah. That's like the like I said, a W block or a V10, the VR10, not the VR, but the V10 for the Audi R8 and all that stuff.
Now in the R8, they did that to save some length, I believe.
Oh yeah. But I mean, it's
But yeah, the W12 or whatever.
Yeah, when you look at that block, it throws you for a loop. Most people don't know what it's for because it's, like I said, it's the size of the piston, and they're offset and on top, so it's so close.
Mhm.
It's pretty interesting.
Looks
look.
like a zigzag, like a zipper.
Yeah. So they but that's like the guys. There's a guy that did the small V8 aluminum, the 4.2.
Stop.
And like my Audi 4000, and that's a hell of a ride right there.
Yeah.
It's a lot. But the problem with the Audi, like my 4000, it's so nose heavy because the motor sticks out past the
front axle.
The front axle.
Yeah.
That's why you just kind of jab and steer and go for the ride. Thank
Right.
God the 4-wheel drive will save you. And the all-wheel drive will save you, because other than that, I couldn't imagine trying to drive one of those cars without 4-wheel drive.
Right.
Which they did make, but that the thing sticks out so far past the front axle.
Yeah.
5-cylinder.
The rain must be really loud over there, Lewis, because you put your earmuffs on.
Yeah.
And he's on mute. And he muted himself.
Yeah. That's funny. It's sounds like it's done raining here.
Yeah.
So it shouldn't be too far behind for him.
Yeah, I know it's coming my way.
Yep. It's on its way, Ray.
Yeah, I think it's moving by. These are Bluetooth. I got them Bluetooth to the computer.
Oh, okay.
We all talk about wireless.
So how many Saabs do you think will be at that Subaru show?
Hard
They
to
had
say.
the 9.5, right? 9.5X or something like that? Was this pretty
Was
much
that a boxer style motor?
Yeah. It was a WRX, basically.
Okay.
I can't remember. I don't know if it had some STI stuff on it or something. I don't know. My friend had 2 of them.
Okay.
And he's like, oh, look, the steering's better. Because I think it had maybe the STI steering box or something.
Gotcha. Interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was a collab between Subaru and
That was back when Saab was just taking whoever they could put a badge on it. So they had the 97X
Oh, right.
Trailblazer.
Yeah.
when did GM buy Saab?
It was in the 90s.
I don't know.
Yeah, late 90s. 98, 99, somewhere.
And then they sell it off too.
Yeah.
Are they still around?
The automotive division closed in 2016, but Saab Aeromotive is still around. They still build like military airplanes and stuff over there in France or wherever, Sweden.
Yep, ceased 2016.
In 2010, GM sold Saab to a Dutch automotive manufacturer, and they operated it for like 6 more years, and then they closed it.
Huh. Yeah, that was what year was that? That Saab 9.5X 9-5. I think it was probably like 2009ish or something. What year is that thing?
I remember from my my co-host was telling me at the time, you couldn't get good tech support, diagnostic data, or scan support for those cars. So it was virtually impossible to fix if you didn't work at a dealership.
Yeah. So in '89, GM bought half the company, 50%, and then in the year 2000, they exercised their option to buy the other half, and then they operated it for 10 more years before they sold it.
And then towards the end, they just rebadged everything. It looks like.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Because 2011 was the Saab 9.5. I don't know what the other Saabs were. I'm not a big Saab person. That's the only 2 Saabs I know.
Yeah, they had some cool stuff. They were like, I think they kind of like envisioned themselves as maybe an Audi competitor, but
I don't know why. No offense, Brian. Audi's got a bad history.
Oh. Hey, what do you want with a bunch of Nazis?
You know who really got some nice cars out of the Volvo? Have you seen the new Volvos?
The Volvo? No, I wouldn't touch a Volvo with a
I don't
10.
I was going to say, just the name Volvo makes me disinterested.
Yeah. Some of the new ones are really nice, though.
No, they had that. It was old, like a C30 or something, like a little two-door hatchback deal.
Who? Volvo?
Volvo, yeah.
Oh.
I think it's C30 or something.
Well, that's the thing. Almost any manufacturer
Nope,
can
that's
make
not
a
it.
car look really good.
Yeah.
The rest of it is the rest of it. Yeah.
Oh, it was a C30. Okay, the back I think looks okay. The front doesn't. I don't know. Has a cool looking hatchback.
I don't know. I stopped looking at new cars like 15 years ago. I don't know. Nothing really interested me much anymore. A couple of the manufacturers, at least in North America, tried to do the retro thing, in the mid-early 2000s. And some of them came out okay, And GM could have been on the leading wave of that when they brought the GTO back. They could have actually made it retro-styled, but they didn't. And there were a lot of disheartened people about that.
Yep.
So then, what was it, 06? Ford did the Mustang retro-styled?
Yep, knocked it out of the park.
And knocked it out of the park, yeah.
My thought is they have the blueprints of the old bodies. Just bring the old body back, set it on a new chassis.
Yeah, but it won't fit, crash compliance. You can't throw all the components in,
No duct tape.
But they could have modified it. They could have, fattened it up, I guess. They could have.
Yeah,
is what I'm looking at. Yeah, if they would have done something with the GTO, like I said, I would have bought one. I would have been super interested in buying one, but
yeah. Oh yeah, when it leaked that they were bringing the nameplate back, there was all kinds of really cool like artist renderings and stuff.
Yeah.
And all we got was, I like them well enough, but all we actually got was a rebadged Monero,
which in itself is a great car.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
But don't sell it. They should have marketed it as something else.
They should have brought it as the Pontiac Monero.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, fine.
Yeah.
Or any of the other names.
Cars too.
Bonds, anything.
They didn't sell.
Right.
I mean, they had a couple little issues, but nothing major. I think
No.
the biggest piece drive shaft.
Yeah, and everything has a two-piece drive shaft in it now anyway. They do that for the terminal rotation speed. But the what really killed the GTO, I think, was they brought it over during the transition year.
Yeah.
So the 2004 had old EFI stuff in it, and then the very next model year, everything electronic in the car changed.
Oh.
So the different ECUs, different wiring harnesses, different all kinds of stuff. I mean, essentially, the only parts that swap between them is the body stuff.
Because it was a LS1, right? The first year?
Right. Yep.
And then it went to whatever the 6.0 is, whatever 6.0 used. I don't know.
Yeah, it was a third gen LS1. And then in 05, they came over with the LS2. But it was a goofy LS2. It had the front mounted camshaft sensor, but it still had a one pulse cam signal or something goofy. It was it wasn't fully transitioned. It was weird.
So, Coach,
Not much.
Back up for a minute to that two-piece drive shaft. You said it was for what was the purpose for pulsation?
Oh, it's probably
Critical speed.
Speed of the drive shaft.
Yep.
So they're talking about harmonic at a given speed, I guess.
Yeah, you're talking about the sine wave that the drive shaft naturally wants to do at speed.
And the different speeds. It could the speed of the drive shaft at angle to keep harmonics down and was it?
It didn't have a big driveline angle anyway. I mean, that car wasn't wrapped.
No, it's a fixed center section in the rear too, so you don't have a lot of movement.
Yeah.
It's the same reason you see, like, if you ever see a real long box truck going down the road, it's going to be like a 3 or 4 segment drive shaft.
Mm-hmm.
It's to keep the individual sections of shaft shorter.
See, now the thing that caught my attention, because as I happen to know, my Fiat Spider, which is a small car, has a two-piece drive shaft. And I always wondered, why did they put a carrier bearing in this thing? The drive shaft is only about 3-4 feet long tops.
And it's also why the automotive manufacturers started transitioning to running smaller rear gears. So like the Pontiac G8 comes with 293 factory rear gears because all of your gearing is in the transmission instead of in the rear end. And that's to keep your drive shaft speeds lower as well.
Oh,
And the difference was between the ride height and speed height when the cars changed transition about the speed of the drive shaft, again with the harmonics. There was actually a really good guy I follow him, and he had a thing on the drive shaft speeds and showing the difference with it. And it's very interesting. It's one of those things that you don't think about.
That's why I like coming here. You guys are smart.
What's that?
So Tyler,
Are you guys still talking about the Monero?
no, we
Sort
were
of.
on
Yeah, we're talking about-
Commodore.
No, we're
Come
talking
to
about
Commodores now.
no, we're talking about Tony Monero.
Tony was there.
So you better put on your platform shoes if you want to get in this conversation, Monkey.
We were mostly talking about two-piece drive shafts, but the Monero started that.
I started with the GTO,
Yeah.
So if I put a single one-piece drive
Well, I
shaft,
was gonna say that
I'll hear noise.
Yeah, you'll get more. You'll get
Instead
more
of naming it-
vibration.
Or vibration. You'll
Possibly.
get a shudder at different speeds.
With low-profile tires, it vibrates like crazy anyway. So I won't
well,
even.
Listen, I had 900 horsepower to the wheels for over 30,000 miles on a stock two-piece with a stock carrier bearing in it, and stock what the hell they call those things? The hockey pucks, Guibo, stock Guibos.
Gazebo disc.
Yeah,
We used to call them gazebo disc.
gazebo.
Gazebo.
Yeah. No, I was stock from the transmission back with 900 wheel horse. If you're not trying to 60-foot it at the track, just stick with the stock stuff.
Yeah.
What were we gonna say?
reboot of the GTO, they should have named it. They should have named it the Grand Prix. If they named it the Grand Prix, because if you look at the Grand Prix from the '90s and going into the 2000s, it would have fit just in, and they could have marketed it as taking the Grand Prix back to a rear-wheel drive, and I bet you it would have sold.
Yeah, they could have done that. Yep. And well, because 2002 was the last year of the two-door Grand Prix. 2003 was the last year of that body style, and then in 2004 it got a complete facelift. But you're right, they could have transitioned the nameplate into the Monero platform, and then because you could get a Commodore as well, and the Commodore was real similar in those years, so you could have marketed it as a 2- and a 4-door Grand Prix. So interestingly enough, the whole reason the G8 is called G8 is it stands for 8th generation Grand Prix.
Okay. Yeah, but do you know who Commodore Schmidlap is?
No.
He's on Batman. You have to watch the original Batman show to know, but he was a villain on Batman.
Oh, in the Adam West days?
Yes.
Yeah.
The only good days. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, he I read an interview somewhere where he said that like 2/3 of his lines weren't scripted. He just ad-libbed them.
That's true.
Yeah.
So wait, so what was the G6 then?
6th generation Grand Am.
Grand Am.
Yeah, when I drove the Batmobile, I had to have my
P5 is fifth generation of the Sunbird /Sunfire.
Yeah, sorry. Looking at Ray.
They had a G4 too, didn't
No, G3.
they? G3,
which was the 3rd generation of the the Aveo or whatever that platform.
That little
Who wasn't
crap.
that made the G Spot? Nobody knows because it doesn't exist, right?
I was just
We can't find it.
Hey,
Nobody can
talk
find one.
for
that'd be a
yourself.
female engineer right there.
Talk for yourself.
Louis, you brought this show.
Huh?
You're a bad influence. See, we brought this show. You brought us right down to the gutter.
Hey, I got a question for Lewis and Tyler. Do you guys follow Taylor Ray at all? Watch his channel?
Who?
Taylor Ray. He's a drifter, mostly a drifter.
No.
He just bought a bus, like I don't know, some old bus converted with, and then it has a lift, and he puts the car in the back.
Oh,
You guys, go check it out. I think you guys.
Soda
would be
Motor.
interested in it.
What's his name?
Taylor Ray.
Oh, Taylor Ray. Okay.
Yeah. He's out here in Florida.
Well, speaking of that, Tyler, did you see
Take it easy, Jim.
See you, Jim.
Tony's last
Sorry,
video? This whole Tony's last video where he sharpened, he had the pruning shears.
I got about halfway through it, and I was watching it as I was moving trailers around outside, and I haven't gotten back to finish it.
I mean, I've thought of that when I use those shears, and I always thought like, how to, and I do the same thing. I dress them manually, but to see him make a jig, talking about jig.
Listen, I think this old Tony must be your son or something, Ray, because you guys are like the same person.
Please, that's a compliment way over my head. He is a genius, because I've thought about that, but he actually made it happen. I was like, damn, dude, I've thought of that. That guy he's amazing. He is just, everybody shouldn't, because most people wouldn't get what he does.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought of you though. I said I got to ask Tyler about that, because he's not doing stuff a lot very frequently now, but when he does, he's hitting it.
Yep. Yeah, and he's interesting because he's one of the few YouTubers. He's got over 1 million subscribers now. His views are within 6 hours. There are hundreds of thousands of views and stuff.
Yeah.
And he's never monetized his channel.
And he doesn't care. Yeah.
No.
Right.
It's a hobby.
True hobby. Right. Yeah, he's unbelievable.
So are ads playing on his channel?
Well, I have YouTube Premium, so I don't know.
I know, me too. So I don't know either.
I don't, and I don't think he does have ads.
Yeah, I don't think.
I don't think so.
Yeah, YouTube Premium's definitely worth it for me.
Oh, it's so nice.
Yeah.
Every time I like play a video on someone else's their
what is
phone or
this?
something, and I'm like, what is? Oh,
why did it stop?
Yeah.
What is this ad?
Is there a month? There's a monthly fee for that, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it started
$13.
several years ago as something called YouTube Red.
Right.
That's badass, boss.
And
Is it?
when Red was released, it was $6.99 a month, and you don't have to watch any ads, but the creators still get credited like you watched an ad.
Okay.
So basically, YouTube's just taking a cut out of their subscription, and they're funneling it to the creator, right? And then they stopped calling it YouTube Red, and now it's called YouTube Premium, and it's like quite a bit more. I think it's like $18 a month or something like that.
Wow.
But for the longest time, I was grandfathered in at my original $6.99 price for like another year or two. It was great.
Yeah.
I think now I pay full price, but it's
And
worth
plus
it.
you get YouTube Music also.
Yep, you get the YouTube Music app included, and then
no commercials. That'd be nice.
Yeah, the no commercials is the best part. But then my favorite thing is being able to continue listening to a video while it's minimized.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
It
Like
can play in the background.
Yeah, like when I listen to this podcast, I just put it on and just because there's no audio version of this, so you just listen to the video.
Right. Yeah. So if you don't have YouTube Premium, you have to either leave it up on your screen, or you got to go find the podcast somewhere else where it's not a video stream. Like on Spotify or something.
Yeah. I'm trying to see how much it is. I thought it was like $14-15 or something. I don't know.
Something like that. It's worth it, especially since I like almost all of my entertainment's on YouTube.
Yeah, me too.
I watch YouTube like TV. When it's on my TV, I just watch YouTube all night on my TV.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's how I play music most times too.
So the only problem is I can't interact with it because there's nothing below the video like you have on a computer. So I can't make comments or anything. But
yeah.
Well, you had to go to the bottom of the screen.
Yeah.
You need a second TV down there to put the comment panel on.
Right.
Yeah. I'm not getting family.
Good stuff. Yeah. I just can't. We've talked about it, and I don't want to be at death, but I just can't emphasize how good Tony's channel is.
Premium content. Like my mom's not even like she's not a builder type personality at all. And when I was living at at their house a couple years back. I played some of his videos for her, and now she's a subscriber and watches all his stuff.
Oh, that's cool. I mean, he is very interesting and he's funny if you get his humor, which I do.
Right.
I guess a lot of people don't, but they're probably dull, boring, and stupid anyway. I'm just saying, just to be general, I don't know. Because he's witty, and that's what I mean, anything with machining attracted me first of all, and then when the first time he said something, I was like, "What? What did he say?" Back that up, like, so that's what I thought he said.
Yep. Yeah, he's very good with injecting the humor.
Yeah.
Oh, totally.
And then we started with his video cuts. He would intersperse the video cuts to emphasize it.
Yeah.
Like when he karate chops a piece of hardened steel. It's like
right.
That's great editing. It really is.
Yeah, he's really come a long ways.
Yeah.
Nobody's looking.
Well, guys, I got to jump ship.
Make sure you got a life preserver. The war's cold.
Man, I'm telling you, it came down out there, boy.
Yeah.
Oh, you got a lake in my yard.
You might have to swim to the house.
Lake Lewis.
I was gonna say, Lewis, I was out riding the bike a couple days ago, and it was like 4 o'clock in the afternoon or something. I was down your way on South Avenue. I was gonna swing by, but it was voting day, whatever voting day was.
Oh, okay.
Last Monday or whatever.
Yeah, I'm probably here. I'm here. Pretty. You know where I'm at.
Yeah.
What were you guys voting for?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
It was a special election voting for amendment to the state constitution about the amount of votes required to pass a amendment, because in Ohio's history, 120 in the last 128 years, we haven't had a year where the constitution of the state was not amended. 128 constitutional amendments.
Really?
128 years.
Holy
so
shit.
someone came up with the idea that some of these are potentially not beneficial and whatnot, and they only passed by like 51-52%. So the proposition was to bump the percentage to 60 so that we have less constitutional amendments in the state of Ohio, but a clear majority could still amend it.
Right.
And everybody shot that down. The hordes came out to vote.
Wow.
And shot that down hard. So we're still at 50% approval.
And people really don't understand it. They voted the way they
The word is always.
They made the vote. You had to vote yes to pass it.
Yeah.
But the way they advertised it, it sounded like
you're supposed to vote no.
Right.
They do that all the time. That's the trickery in it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. And so now the thinking among conservative-minded people is, now that did not pass, it's going to be a lot easier for a couple of very liberal-leaning woke policies to get amended in the next couple years.
Hell yeah, that's why they do it.
Yep.
Wow. And it's another case. I don't know. I'm just speaking in general, but it seems that when the left wants something, they really band together, and they do, and like it doesn't go the other way. I'm like, come on, guys, wake the fuck up! It's like, this is important, Yeah. And it goes right to the federal level.
I think stuff is happening. I mean, look at Bud Light; they're almost gone.
Very true. Very true.